Can Muck survive a Thunderbolt? Yes, it does on 10% health, triggering its Agua Berry, and Muck is going to be able to Drain Punch. Hey friends, my name is still Frankie, and welcome back to Gotta Drag 'em All Stars, the best place on the internet to see two Drag Race queens duke it out with 6v6 Pokemon battles. Last time in our premiere episode, we had our first battle of the season between Raven and Nina Benita Brown, where Raven barely edged out Nina to win the battle. Unfortunately, that means we had to see Nina sashay away. We're now down to 14 queens, so let's see what they'll be up to this week. Before we get too deep into things, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's head back into the workroom and see how the queens are feeling after the first elimination. Ooh girl, what's poppin'? Hello my queens! Pokemon come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and forms. For this week's Maxi Challenge, you'll be designing your very own Poke Companion. Now let those creative juices flow. Since this week is a design challenge, let's take a look at how our queens did on any design challenges from their original seasons. Right off the bat, it looks like Nina Flowers, Manila, Willem, and Kim Chi all have previously won a design challenge. Looking at their individual performances, if I had to pick a single winner for our series, I'd go with Manila, who not only won a design challenge, but placed high in 2 other design challenges, so for me, she'll get the individual win for consistency. That means the other 3 queens all bump down to a high placement. Raven and Gia both originally got high placements for design challenges, but again, I'm gonna bump them down to safe since we had so many queens already with a win that got bumped down to a high placement. Now, we have 4 queens who didn't really have a design challenge on their original seasons, and those are Crystal Method, Olivia Lux, Maddy Morphosis, and Irene Dubois. Of these 4, I'm gonna make the executive decision that Crystal and Irene would both do a safe job given their overall aesthetics. Here is how each of our queens might fare in this challenge. So, we have a bottom 2 of Olivia Lux and Maddy Morphosis. Let's take a look at which Pokemon our bottom queens will be bringing to the battle, starting with Maddy Morphosis. First off, we have Alolan Muck, who I chose based on Maddy's cast reveal look with the sort of acid, washy colors and vibes. Alolan Muck has the same base stats as regular Muck, which means it's going to be a pretty bulky physical attacker and with pretty high attack, HP, and special defense stats. Alolan Muck will also have the Gluttony ability, which means it'll be able to eat its Agua Berry at half health rather than at quarter health. On top of that, it'll have some powerful stab moves like Knock Off and Poison Jab to take advantage of its high attack stat to really smack around its opponents. Next, we have Absol, who I chose based on Maddy's all-in-white evening wear runway look for the moon-shaped fascinator on her head being reminiscent of Absol's. While Absol's base stats are generally pretty mid, it does have a really high attack stat. Coupled with a choice band to increase its power by 1.5 times, it'll be able to dish out some big physical damage with moves like Knock Off, Close Combat, and Play Rough. Next, we have the Patriotic Braviary, who I chose because of Maddy's red, white, and blue bridal look. Braviary follows the trend so far of the rest of Maddy's team by being a physically offensive threat. It is generally pretty frail though, so it's holding the heavy-duty boots to prevent damage from stealth rocks, and its ability Sheer Force increases the power of moves that have secondary effects like Close Combat by 1.3 times. Next up, we have Pelipper, who I chose mainly because of its ability Drizzle being a match to Maddy's Spring Has Sprung runway look. Pelipper doesn't have the best base stats ever, but it does have alright defense and special attack stats. Its biggest draw is its ability Drizzle, which sets up the rain, and coupled with its item Damp Rock, means that it'll be raining for at least 8 turns unless another Pokemon changes the weather. This is a pretty big deal for Pelipper, who will be able to fire off Hurricanes, which normally have a high chance to miss, with 100% accuracy. And Rain also boosts the damage of water-type attacks like Scald by 50%, allowing this silly-looking burb to be an actual special attacking threat. Next, we have Clefable, who is based on Maddy's Chaps on the Runway look, with the pink colors, and honestly, does Clefable not look like it's making finger guns here? Clefable is more of a specially defensive and support Pokemon. However, with the right tools like a Life Orb to boost its damage by 1.3 times, it can definitely still pump out some good damage with Moonblasts. Its ability Magic Guard also means that it doesn't take extra damage from its Life Orb. Toxic, Moonlight, and Flamethrower round out the moves on this Clefable. Lastly, we have Cryogonal, who is based on Maddy's Mirror Mirror Runway look. Cryogonal is pretty speedy with great special defense, special attack, and speed stats. It'll primarily be a special defensive wall for Maddy, and play the role of a supportive Pokemon as well. Leftovers will help keep it healthy, and its ability Levitate means it'll be a good choice to switch in on incoming ground-type attacks. Aside from supporting moves like Toxic and Rapid Spin, Cryogonal will be able to do some damage as well with Freeze Dry and Flash Cannon. Overall, Maddy's team is pretty unassuming, but packs a powerful punch with physical attackers like Braviary and Absol. Alolan Muck will also be able to do some big physical damage, but it'll also be a specially defensive wall, a role it shares with Cryogonal. Clefable and Pelipper round out her team, both able to dish out some powerful special attacks under the right circumstances. With 2 flying types though, Maddy will have to watch out for any sort of electric type attacks. Maddy's team looks pretty formidable, but let's see who Olivia will be bringing to the battle. Starting with Huntail, who is loosely based on Olivia's promo look since they both have orange on their heads and Olivia's peplum is sort of giving fins. Huntail, who has a relatively high attack stat, will be one of Olivia's physical attackers. Its ability is Swift Swim, which doubles its speed in the rain, and an Assault Vest will give it a little bit of tankiness on the special side as well. Ideally, Huntail would operate in the rain to get that speed boost and to increase the damage of its water-type moves like Waterfall by an additional 50%. Next, we have Audino, who is based on Olivia's pink and yellow entrance look, matching Audino's color palette pretty seamlessly. Audino's stats are pretty average overall, but it does have an okay HP stat. For Olivia, Audino will be more of a support Pokemon with moves like Knock Off, Toxic, and the ability to use Rain Dance to set up the rain for Huntail. It'll be holding the Rocky Helmet item to help chip away at incoming physical attackers, and its ability Regenerator will allow it to regain a third of its health each time it switches out. Next, we have Breloom, based on the look that Olivia made herself for the Bag Ball Eleganza, with the greens and her stance giving fighting type vibes the House Down boots. Breloom also has pretty middling stats overall, but it does have a really high attack stat. Its ability is Technician, which increases the power of moves that have a base power of 60 or less by 1.5 times. Coupled with a Choice Band, which is another 50% damage increase, its moves like Mach Punch, Rock Tomb, and Aerial Ace will all be doing incredible damage. Next, we have Heliolisk, who I chose based on Olivia's yellow gorgeous runway gown. Heliolisk is a really great, speedy special attacker, but it's also incredibly frail, meaning it'll be more of a glass cannon for Olivia. It'll be holding the Life Orb to boost its damage by 30%, and its ability Dry Skin means it'll also be able to take advantage of rainy weather to heal itself. Powerful stab moves like Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and Hyper Voice give Heliolisk tons of options whenever it's on the field. Next up is Frostlass, who is based on Olivia's Fascinating Fascinators look, with the whites, purples, and even the sort of reddish-orange colors of Frostlass being present in Olivia's runway look too. Frostlass is another fast special attacker on Olivia's team. It's holding a Focus Sash to ensure that it can survive an attack to at least get one powerful attack off. Its ability is Cursed Body, which gives it a 30% chance to disable a move that it gets hit by. Will-O-Wisp, Hex, and Ice Beam help give Frostlass some good coverage moves as well. And rounding out Olivia's team is Altaria, who I chose based on Olivia's makeover runway giving off similar fluffy cloud vibes. Altaria also is known to often sing while it's flying, and Olivia is a trained singer, so I thought this was a perfect match. Altaria has some pretty decent stats overall, and it can fill either special or physical attacking roles. For Olivia, Altaria will be a physical attacker with moves like Earthquake, Brave Bird, and Dragon Claw. It'll be holding leftovers to take advantage of its naturally bulkier stats, and its ability, Natural Cure, gives it the ability to cure status conditions whenever it switches out. Overall, Olivia's team is really balanced with powerful special attackers in Heliolisk and Frostlass, and physical attackers in Huntail, Breloom, and Altaria. Audino will serve as more of a supportive Pokemon and help to really enable the rest of Olivia's team. Alright, it looks like our trainers are ready to go, so Mamoru, over to you.
Olivia Lux, Maddy, I'm sorry my dears, but you are up for elimination. 2 queens stand before me. Ladies, this is your last chance to impress me and save yourself from elimination. The time has come.
Pokemon battle.
For your life. Good luck, and don't it up.
Maddy starts with Clefable, while Olivia leads with Heliolisk. Olivia is going to Volt Switch to get some big damage out, while also giving her the opportunity to switch safely into Huntail, who's going to get poisoned by Clefable. Huntail goes for a Waterfall, and it does some big damage on Clefable, and it gets the flinch. Maddy was going to want to keep Clefable around though, so she brings in Pelipper, who's able to mostly brush off that Waterfall. Body Slam comes in, and Pelipper gets paralyzed unfortunately, but Hurricane still lands and does 43%, and that poison damage will help take Huntail out. Olivia brings Heliolisk in, and Maddy's going to keep Pelipper in and let it go down to that Volt Switch as Olivia brings in Breloom. Meanwhile, Maddy brings in Braviary, and Olivia doesn't want to lose Breloom just yet, so Audino comes in, but Braviary is going to take a lot of damage from Recoil and that Rocky Helmet. Maddy's going to give up Clefable at this point to Audino's Body Slam, and Maddy's down to 4 Pokemon to Olivia's 5. Maddy brings in Alolan Muck, who gets the knockoff onto Audino to take it out, tying up the game at 4 Pokemon apiece. Olivia brings in Altaria. Meanwhile, Maddy's going to swap in Braviary, expecting that Ground-type attack correctly. Maddy's going to do a double swap now into Cryogonal, who takes some big damage from that Brave Bird on this next turn. Olivia is not going to want to stay in an Altaria here, and yeah, Maddy's going to Freeze Dry into a Frostlass, not doing very much damage here. Frostlass goes for the Will-O-Wisp on a Cryogonal. Meanwhile, a big Flash Cannon comes in, barely missing out on the KO on that Frostlass. Frostlass goes for the Hex, but it only does 28%, so Cryogonal is able to take Frostlass out with another Flash Cannon. Olivia brings in Breloom here, who's able to get the revenge kill onto Cryogonal with a Mach Punch. Maddy brings in Braviary, who is able to survive a Mach Punch and go for that Brave Bird to take Breloom out, but it's also going to go down to that Recoil, and both trainers are tied at 2 Pokemon apiece. Maddy brings in Muck here, who is able to take that Volt Switch pretty well, as Olivia brings in Altaria to take in that Drain Punch. Maddy doesn't want to stay in here, again expecting an Earthquake, so is going to have to let Absol take 49% from that attack. But it's able to outspeed on the next turn here and get a big play rough off onto Altaria to one-shot it. Thunderbolt comes in from onto Absol and takes it out, and both trainers are down to their last Pokemon. Can Muck survive a Thunderbolt? Yes, it does on 10% health, triggering its Agua Berry, and Muck is going to be able to Drain Punch to take Olivia's Heliolisk out, and Maddy will win the battle.
Maddy Morphosis. Shantae, you stay. Olivia, sashay away.
Okay, Maddy did the damn thing. Olivia and her Heliolisk were doing so much damage with each Volt Switch that I honestly thought she had it in the bag, but Maddy pulled through at the very end. For me, the most valuable Pokemon, or MVP of the battle, has to be Maddy's Muck, who ended up taking out Audino and surviving a Life Orb boosted Thunderbolt from Heliolisk to then take it out with the Drain Punch and help Maddy win the entire battle. But as we close out episode 2, what do you think of the competition so far? Which queen are you rooting for? Sound off in the comments below, and don't miss episode 3 of Gotta Drag 'em All Stars coming out in 2 weeks. Bye!